My weekend always feels like a special time for me. It is the part of the week when I slow down from all the usual stress of school, studies, or work, and I focus on myself. I want to share my weekend routine with you because maybe it will give you some ideas, or maybe it will just make you feel like you are spending this time with me. The main thing is that I want you to listen carefully, notice the words I use, and try to practice them. That way, you are not just enjoying my story, you are also improving your English at the same time. Usually, my weekend begins on Friday night. After a long week, I look forward to that moment when I don't have to wake up early the next day. On Friday night, I often feel relaxed. Sometimes I stay awake a little longer, maybe watching a movie, maybe reading something online, or even listening to music. I don't like to sleep too late, but I also don't want to sleep too early on Friday because it feels like my first taste of freedom after the weekdays. I make myself a cup of tea or sometimes hot chocolate, sit by my window, and enjoy the quiet of the night. That little moment is very special because it tells me that my weekend has finally started. On Saturday morning, I usually wake up without an alarm. That is one of the best feelings in the world. During weekdays, my alarm clock is my enemy. But on Saturday, I can open my eyes naturally, stretch my arms, and smile because I know there is no hurry. I lie in bed for a few minutes, just thinking about how I want my day to go. Sometimes I plan. Sometimes I just let it flow. After that, I get up, wash my face, brush my teeth, and make myself fresh for the day. Breakfast is something I really enjoy on weekends. On weekdays, I often eat something quick because I am in a rush. But on weekends, I take my time. I might make eggs, bread, and tea. Sometimes I eat something sweet, like pancakes or biscuits, if they are at home. While eating breakfast, I like to listen to English podcasts or watch some videos in English. This is very helpful for me because I get to hear different accents, new words, and natural conversations. I don't just listen passively. I try to repeat some sentences, pause the video, and say them out loud. It feels like I am training my mouth and my ears at the same time. After breakfast, I usually go for a short walk. I put on my earphones and play an English audiobook or motivational talk. As I walk, I try to repeat the lines that inspire me. For example, if the speaker says something powerful, I stop walking for a second and repeat it. People might think it looks funny, but I don't care because I know I am practicing English. Walking and listening at the same time makes me feel productive and healthy. The fresh air clears my mind, and the English words go deeper into my memory because I am moving my body while hearing them. When I return home, I usually spend some time reading. Reading is one of my favorite weekend habits. I don't always read heavy books. Sometimes I just read short stories, articles, or even blogs. The important thing is that I try to read in English. If I don't understand a word, I underline it or make a note in my phone. Later, I search for the meaning and write a sentence with that new word. This way, I am not only reading, but also learning. Around noon, I like to relax a little. Sometimes I play games on my phone. Sometimes I call a friend. And sometimes I just scroll social media. But even in those activities, I try to connect with English. For example, when I watch funny videos, I prefer English captions. When I play games, I set the language to English so that I get used to seeing those words and phrases. It might seem like a small thing, but it helps a lot over time. Lunch on weekends is usually simple, but I like to enjoy it slowly. I sit with my family, and we talk while eating. I don't always use English here, but in my mind, I sometimes translate the conversation. For example, if someone says something in my language, I ask myself, how would I say this in English? It is a small mental exercise that keeps my brain sharp. After lunch, I often take some time to rest. Sometimes I nap. Sometimes I just lie down and listen to calm English music. This resting time gives me energy for the evening. When I wake up from a short nap, I feel fresh again and ready to focus. One of the most important parts of my weekend is practicing speaking. During the week, I don't get much time to speak English out loud. So, on weekends, I make sure I spend at least 1 or 2 hours speaking. Sometimes I record myself telling a story. Sometimes I read a page from a book out loud. Sometimes I even talk to myself in front of the mirror. I know it sounds strange, but it works. Speaking to myself in English makes me confident. I can see my expressions, hear my pronunciation, and correct my mistakes. Another thing I love doing on weekends is writing. I take a notebook and write about my week, my dreams, or even imaginary stories, but always in English. Writing helps me organize my thoughts and remember vocabulary. For example, if I learn the word determination during the week, I make sure to use it in my writing. That way, the word becomes a part of me, not just a memory. In the evening, I sometimes go outside with friends. If we meet, we usually talk in our own language, but I try to add a few English words. Some of my friends also want to practice English, so we challenge each other to speak only English for 10 minutes. It is fun, and we laugh a lot when someone makes a mistake. But the important thing is that we are learning together. Saturday night is a mix of fun and learning. I allow myself to watch a movie, but I always choose an English one. At first, I used to watch with subtitles in my language, but now I watch with English subtitles. Sometimes I even turn off the subtitles completely and try to understand. When I watch movies, I don't just enjoy the story. I also pay attention to how the actors speak, their expressions, and the way they use simple words in powerful ways. I sometimes pause the movie, repeat a line, and try to say it exactly the same way. This is one of the best ways to learn natural English. When Sunday comes, I like to start the day with a fresh mindset. I wake up early on Sunday because I don't want the day to pass too quickly. After breakfast, I usually plan my studies for the week. I look at my notes, check my English vocabulary list, and review the words I learned during the week. I repeat them out loud, make sentences, and sometimes test myself. Sunday afternoons are my favorite because I spend them doing something creative. Sometimes I record a video of myself speaking English on a topic. Sometimes I try to tell a story in English. For example, I imagine I am talking to an audience, just like I am talking to you now. I try to make my sentences smooth, my voice clear, and my expressions natural. This not only helps my English, but also improves my confidence. In the evening, I like to spend some quiet time. I usually sit in my room with a notebook and reflect on my weekend. I write what I did, what I learned, and what I want to do better next week. This reflection is important because it makes me realize that every small step counts. Every new word I learned, every sentence I practiced, every mistake I corrected it, all brings me closer to fluency. Finally, on Sunday night, I prepare myself for the week ahead. I pack my bag, set my alarm, and make sure everything is ready. But before I sleep, I always listen to something in English. It could be a short podcast, a motivational speech, or even just soft English songs. I let those words be the last thing I hear before sleeping because I believe they will stay in my mind and help me grow. So that is my weekend. It may sound simple, but it is meaningful to me. Every activity I do, walking, watching, reading, writing, or even resting, has a small connection to English. I try to surround myself with the language so that it becomes natural, like a friend I spend time with every day. I believe that if I keep doing this, one day I will speak English fluently and confidently without even thinking about it. And I want you to know that you can do the same. Use your weekends wisely. Make time for yourself. Practice a little, enjoy a little, and repeat. Small steps done regularly make a big difference. And that is why weekends are not just days of rest for me. They are days of growth.